Hi there, my name is Victoria Salem-Benny. I am an assistant teacher here at East Coast Performing Arts, and I'm also a part of the elite competition team. Today I will be showing you our performance makeup. This is the makeup we wear for competitions and also for the recital performances. Company members, you will need to buy these specific eyeshadow shades I list in this video today. If you are not a part of the company, but you're looking to do this makeup for a recital, you can totally go to your local drugstore and just kind of find similar shades. I will be showing you all the shades with the names today and steps to get the makeup look. So to begin, I'm gonna actually show you, this is my eyeshadow palette. I buy them in singles, little single pans, and I have them in a MAC palette. These are MAC eyeshadows. You can buy the individual pots of eyeshadows, whatever's easiest for you. The four colors I have here today, the black one is called Max Black Tide. The cream color is called Brulee. The white color here is called Nylon Frost. And my purple I have in here is Star Violet. Star Violet is a discontinued shade, so we now use Incinerated, Incinerated is a very similar shade. If you need a list of all the makeup we use, please contact the front desk secretary. She can always give you a list for that. Okay. So to first begin, I'm going to kind of do both eyes simultaneously and then explain you the differences as we continue. I'm going to start with the cream color right here, Brulee. I use a kind of a fluffy brush for this. I just pick some up on my brush, tap a little off, and I'm just going to put that all over my eyes. For again, this is my left side of my face. My left side will be the Advanced Pre-Company in Elite Competition makeup. The right side of my face will be the Pre-Company makeup. They have very similar steps, just one little difference. So both sides get a nice amount of the Brulee color. This is just to kind of set that primer you put in place, but also to make sure that all the colors can kind of blend a little more seamlessly together. So once I have a nice amount of that on, it's time for our next shade. Alrighty, the next shade I'm gonna use here is the white shade, our white kind of shimmer shade. This is Nylon Frost. I'm gonna take kind of a dense packing brush. It's just kind of like a shorter one. And I'm just going to pick some of that up. That goes right underneath the brow bone. And for competition team, advanced and older, you will just put it under the brow bone. For pre-company, you are going to put it all over the lid. So I just kind of put some up here. To start with, I kind of bring it down farther because you'll see in a bit, the black is kind of gonna overlap with it. So I just wanna make sure it does become apparent even when I start kind of layering other colors over it. Make sure it's kind of nice, try to get it as blended in as possible. I'm using my camera today for that. So this is how it kind of is gonna look. Also, fingers, sometimes I go in with my fingers. They are the best tool sometimes to get more pigment and also to help you blend. So again, this is Advanced Pre-Company competition. This is Pre-Company. Pre-Company gets a generous amount all over, and they're just gonna get it all over. The next step is to use our purple shade. You're gonna be using Incinerated. I just have Star Violet. This has lasted me since I've started the competition team. This is like my original one, so this is what I have on hand, but it is Incinerated now if you're gonna look for it on MAC. And you can find all of these in a MAC store or on MAC online, but I would highly recommend you do use the MAC shades. As you can see, this has lasted me almost my entire dance career here. I have barely had to buy really new ones. I've maybe bought one. So definitely having the right products will definitely make the makeup last longer. The purple shade will go all on the lid for both sides. I use kind of a dense packing brush. This brush helps get me the purple. Again, sometimes I use my fingers if I really need the extra help. I just kind of start putting that on the lid, making sure I do it in a way where you can visibly see it. You don't want to do a light amount because on stage, when the stage lights start hitting the makeup will wash out. So you definitely want to make sure it's heavy. And if you're doing your child's makeup early in the morning, you will probably have to retouch during the day just to make sure that the colors don't wear off, because it is makeup and they are sweating. So I just kind of put a heavy amount on the lid. Again, if it's not perfect right now, for this side at least, you just want to make sure you're blending it and you're continuing to blend, just because trying to make it as seamless as possible. I really make sure I really get it on in there. Now for the pre-company side, it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to go right on the lid. Same way as I just did the other side. Alrighty, now I have the purple on. This is where we're gonna get a little different. Before I start the next step, if you are an advanced pre-company, you will wanna take more of your white shade and just kind of blend the purple and the white together, because you will not be using the black shade on pre-company. You will just have to use the purple and the white. You just wanna make sure they're nicely blended together. They don't look like you just slopped them on their eye. Really kind of keep them nice together. On this side, you also want to make sure they're blended as well, just so they kind of nicely go together. Don't look too crazy yet. The next step of the makeup process, this is only going to apply for advanced pre-company and older. You will be using black tide, and I use a fluffy brush like this, and the shape I'm making is almost like a V. So you're going to take your brush with the black on it. You're going to go down like a diagonal and get kind of a V shape. And then you're gonna take it and you're gonna go in the crease. So you're making this V shape with the black. You don't wanna take the black all the way over into the inner corner, as it's going to black out the entire eye and lose everything. Again, advanced pre-company, you do not have to do this step. I just take my brush, grab a little black tide. The black can get very pigmented very quickly, so if you're new to it, it's better to start with a little less on the eye and then build up instead of going straight to black, because then if you mess up, it makes it a little hard. So I put a little black, I start making my V shape. You're gonna start wanting to make this V shape on the eye, this V shape. Again, as you can see, it's kind of like a diagonal. And if you cover a little of the purple, we're gonna go back in a little bit and just make sure we add some more on. So I go like this first V shape. Again, it's a little lighter than what I want for the end result. And now I go into the crease and I start, you can see it's kind of that shape in the corner. And I start building that up very slowly, very lightly, depending on, you want to make sure the black is not, you don't want to leave the black like this, because from far away, you're not going to see it on stage. You definitely want to make sure you're building it up. Alrighty, as you can see, I've just kind of walked away for a few seconds just to build my black up. As you can see, it's definitely darker, more pigmented. But the purple has kind of washed away a bit, and so is the white. So I'm just gonna take my purple brush again and more purple, and I'm just going to build that back up. It's okay if you go over a little bit of the black, because when the child's eyes open, you're not gonna really see that part. I just make sure I really build my makeup up to make sure I have a really good base. And again, sometimes fingers are the best tool, so do not be afraid to go in there with your fingers. I'm just gonna build some more white up. It definitely helps to add a little more at the very end, just to make sure that the eye look is complete and very pigmented. From there, we're all gonna kind of do the same thing. We're going to need a black liner. I'm just using a very inexpensive drugstore liner. I prefer felt tip liners. You can use gel pots. The felt tips are just sometimes easier. They dry a little quicker. They're a little more precise, but again, at your discretion. Both the older side, the advanced pre-company and older side, and the pre-company side will get just a thin line of black liner. No wings are needed. You just want to kind of line it first, and then from there we will go on. Alrighty, as you can see, I have just done some black liner. Both sides get the same kind of black liner, nice thin black line. From here, if you are ages 6 and older, you will be required to wear some false eyelashes. If you are 5 and under, false eyelashes do not need to be worn. You just need to have a nice black mascara. Alrighty, if you were wearing false eyelashes, I wear the Ardell Naturals 110s in black. They're wispies. The lashes may be too big for your child's eyes. You're just gonna have to kind of cut them to fit the eye. There are many different black lashes out there. I wouldn't go with something too heavy because it's going to like overpower their eye, but I would definitely have a false lash. If you are using false eyelashes, I would recommend getting Duo Lash Glue. I usually use the brush on that's white. It goes on blue and it kind of dries clear. That way you can kind of see where you're putting the lash on those early mornings. But definitely Duo Glue and some Ardell lashes are the way to go. These can both be found at Sally's or the drugstore. If you are using no lashes, I would recommend a nice black mascara. This is Telescopic by L'Oreal. It's a super inexpensive one. There are lots of black mascaras out there. Your discretion for whatever mascara you want to use. Just make sure it's black. It definitely coats the lashes. So again, on this side, I will be just doing false lashes because our pre-company will be wearing false lashes. If you are in the advanced pre-company, but you are under the age of 6, you do not need to wear lashes. You can just do the black mascara as well. I'm just going to demonstrate black lashes on this side just to complete the elite competition look, and I'll be right back. As you can see, I've now applied a false lash to this side. It's so dry and bit, and this side just has some black mascara on it. Again, 6 and under do not need to wear false eyelashes, but 5 and under, but 6 and older do need to wear the false lashes. Again, I wouldn't put them in the corner of your child's eye. It's really uncomfortable to wear. It kind of pokes the eye and they won't stay. If you cut them, you kind of just want to do like the mid-eye to the ends and just make sure they're really glued down well so they don't fall off. That Duo Glue, as I mentioned, is great for that. Alrighty, so to begin with our face makeup, you can start with a primer on the skin. Not necessary, that's just kind of up to your discretion. I would use a nice foundation. This is Fenty. I know this is a little expensive. Again, you can go to the drugstore, find a foundation shade that matches your child. For foundation, you may want to go the tiniest bit a little darker because when the stage lights hit them, it will wash their skin out. This is kind of my shade. Depending on your child, you can go right at their shade or a little over. I wouldn't go, or a little under. I wouldn't go much more than that because then it's not gonna match their skin and you don't want that. I use a beauty blender to do my foundation. You can totally use a brush. It's whatever you want. For me, I found a beauty blender is best for me, and I'm just gonna take some foundation on the back of my hand, make sure I shake it up really well, take a few pumps. You definitely want to make sure you're putting foundation on their skin. There's a few good drugstore ones, like Wet n Wild has a good one, Maybelline has a few good ones. You wanna make sure you find a foundation that works for your child's skin that will not come off while they sweat. Sometimes the higher end foundations do work a little better to not come off as the child sweats. Again, whatever you can get, whatever's gonna work best for your child is what you wanna do. I just kind of put my foundation, I make sure I put it all over my skin. I also wanna make sure I put it on my chin. I don't want a nice line on my chin. And your hair, you wanna make sure you're fully blending the foundation through the child's like hair, because you don't want kind of like a line to stop in between them and their hair, because that's it can be a little distracting. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna blend this all in and I'll come right back. Alrighty, as you can see, I have put my foundation on. It is a tad darker than my like neck skin. Perfectly okay, because again, remember when they're under stage lights, it's going to look a little lighter. Concealer is optional at this point. Again, if you're younger, don't really worry about the concealer. Totally understandable. If you want to put concealer on your child, again, totally up to you. I'm not going to do concealer today because it's not a required step. Next thing you want to do is you want to find a setting powder. There are 2 types of setting powder. There is a loose setting powder and there's also a pressed setting powder. Preference. This one is just kind of loose pigment in here. This one is a pan style. This is a little more user-friendly, I find. It's just a pan of powder. This can get a little messy, so definitely use that one at your caution. I prefer my pressed powder. It's faster, it's a little easier, it's way simpler. Again, up to you. Definitely probably would recommend a pressed powder for this. I take just a small powder brush. Any brush will do. You just really want to make sure you powder that foundation down, because when the child is dancing, you don't want it to kind of sweat off with them and have lines on their face, because that's definitely happened to me before, and you'll have to reapply the foundation in the powder in the blush. So we definitely don't want to do that. Again, I'm using a MAC pressed powder. Any pressed powder works. Again, sometimes the more expensive one, a little goes a long way. I just really like to make sure I set all that foundation. I don't want really any wet spots, just so when I'm dancing, I don't have to worry about it. It's just nice set in place. After you do the pressed powder, the next step is our blush. We wear Breath of Plum by MAC. This is a mandatory blush shade if you are on the competition team. It is a like mauve-y, kind of purpley, pinky blush. As you can see, mine has lasted me a very long time. I've had this again since I started competition team. So the correct products can go a very long time. I just kind of use, again, like a dome-shaped fluffy brush. I pick up some of the blush. Again, you want to go a little lighter and build up the blush because you don't want to make it too big circles on their cheek. I build up some blush. I make them smile, find the point of their cheek, and just kind of brush up. And I just kind of keep doing that until I can build the blush to the shade I need. If your child's a little fairer, you might see it pop up a little quicker just because their skin's a little lighter. If your child's skin is a little darker, it might take a few layers to really see it. Alrighty, so this is the completed face and eye makeup. You can do some setting spray on it if you want it to last. Again, not mandatory steps. Those are kind of things up to your caution depending on how your child wears the makeup. These are what you need to make sure is on your face so we all look the same. You want the Breath of Plum blush, you want a nice even foundation, a nice powder. Now the last step of our makeup is going to be the lipstick. This is MAC Amaryllis. This is also another mandatory color you must wear if you are on the competition team. You can find it at MAC again, online. This is what mine looks like. All I'm going to do is just put it on my lips. You can use lip liner if you'd like. That's not a mandatory step. I don't use it. We wear Whirl as the lip liner, which is very similar colors to this. They're almost exactly. If you need some guidance, definitely use the Whirl to help you. You're just gonna make sure you put it on the child's lips. Don't go light because it does fade very quickly. So again, this is another step of the makeup you will want to touch up through the day. And I just kind of blend it in. You want to make sure that it's, again, not too light because lipstick does wear as your child dances. So really check up on their lips, make sure they're looking good, check up on their blush. Those are some of the things that do fade. Once I have my lipstick on, I am complete with my makeup look. Another thing I like to mention, the competition team, we also wear the Starlight earrings. You can purchase these with the secretary at the front desk. We have clip-on options and pierced options. You just want to make sure you have a nice pair of these to wear as you go on stage. That is the complete makeup look. I hope this was helpful to you and have a great one.